This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right, it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you are watching or listening, whether it be on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify. Make sure you hit subscribe so you are always in on Mile High Tick. And of course, you've already cleared your calendar for Mile High 13 in September 21st weekend. So make sure you rise up to milehigh.com. So that's where you can get all the details. Don't let the 13 scare you. It's going to be phenomenal. I know we thought about maybe calling it Mile High 14, but we're sticking with 13 and leaning into it. And I am super thrilled to have a frequent speaker at Mile High today on the podcast. And she's not at altitude. She's across the pond right now in London. Dr. Courtney Gowin, who's just a special soul. I always enjoy time speaking to her or seeing her in person, and you're going to be thrilled to see her at Mile High. But right now, I'm sure you're going to get to enjoy being with her on the Mile High podcast. She has so many accomplishments beyond Doctor of Chiropractic and adjunct professor at Parker and Park University board member and alumni of the year. And she's done so much for chiropractic. She had her site, The Nest, I believe she still has, and also has her new venture that so many people are raving about, WanderLearn. I'm sure we'll touch on that as well. But thank you for joining us today, Dr. Courtney Gowin.
That's quite the intro. Thank you so much. It's always an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Well, when you're excited about someone, you want to, sing their praises.
I love, yeah, exactly. I just need you to every day wake and be like, you got this.
I know a big focus for you in general is fostering community, and that is a vital part of healing. And so let's just first, before I get to, let the people get to know you a little bit better. It's a very important area for me. And I'm glad we share that in common. Why do you think community is important in life and healing?
Well, I'll tell you, my first really revelation in community was 2 years into practice. I had just had my first daughter and I was experiencing severe postpartum depression. And so much so, I wanted to quit chiropractic. I wanted to pause in life. It was just a really dark time. And right around that same time, I was given the opportunity to take over all 3 levels of my the building I was in. I was just in a tiny basement. And it was just serendipitous timing because I was able, I took the risk, and I shouldn't have, because I tripled my overhead. I probably couldn't even pay the rent. But I had I prayed about it, and I came back to the opportunity. I said, you know what, I'll take it. I'll do it. And through that time period of building out the nest, I brought in midwives, doulas, massage therapists, people who were just in the birth community. And I did it all with a baby strapped on my back, and just kind of in this headspace where I was just really in a low, dark space. And it was being in community, in life, doing life with these different birth providers as we built the nest, that brought me out of that depression and showed me the power firsthand of community as a mother and how powerful that was. Because I think motherhood life, a lot of in business even, it can be very isolating. And so whenever you actually have people around you, we're human beings, we're built for connection. And so whenever you have that, I think that's one of the most healing things that you can have for your soul. So that's been my personal, step my foot into it. And then everything I've built from there has come from the foundation of community.
I know, because you do that in so many areas of your life, and I witness it and see it. So I figured let's lean into that first. Now, to step back a little bit, Let's help people get to know Courtney. So, first of all, how'd you find your way into the chiropractic world?
So I was actually a Division One basketball player.
Oh,
Shocker.
wow, I didn't know that.
So we were about to go do a pretty big game against Texas Tech. And I did a jump stop and the whole left side of my body went numb.
Oh, wow.
And I had to be rushed to the emergency room. Like our team doctors, orthopedic surgeons, they wanted to put me on all these muscle relaxers, do surgery. And I just innately knew that wasn't for me. And a girl on my team, she was like, hey, like, I think you should go see my chiropractor. And so I went and I just knew like whenever I was getting adjusted, I could play. And whenever I was not getting adjusted, I couldn't play. So that was like my
Wow.
only correlation into it. And then I started teaching yoga and fell in love with vitalism, like health, wellness. And then I was given the opportunity to transfer to Abilene Christian, and they had a pre-chiropractic program. And so I was like, wow, that really helps me. Let me kind of look into this. And so I
Uh,
kind of dove into it more. And I was so fortunate to come across a path with a vitalistic chiropractor who just, I feel like the first conversation that we had just spoke. You know, when somebody speaks truth and it hits you in the soul, it was one of those where it was just like, yeah, that's that's exactly what health is. It comes from within you. And so that's been my journey into chiropractic. So it's always a wild ride.
isn't it so interesting how so often in life, um, a wound, and I mean that on many levels, not just physical, but a wound can then give you a huge gift.
Oh, absolutely. I think that I look back and like you kind of put the pieces of your puzzle together, and it's always the valleys that you
Uh,
have like the biggest breakthroughs and like or the lowest times in your life. You
right.
look back and you're so thankful for them because they gave you like the contrast of like so much beauty.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really amazing in that adage, and I don't remember who I'm quoting, but the crack
Hmm.
is where the light comes in, is it
Yep.
happens so much in chiropractors especially. So then you found your way, chiropractic school, found your way to Parker.
Mhm.
How did you end up having, I know you're very deep in pediatrics and perinatal care. How did that come into an area of focus?
Which is so funny because I always thought I would be a sports chiropractor, like
Of
on
course.
the sidelines of an NFL team. Like I was just like so sports oriented my whole life. Both my parents were coaches, just like very, very born and bred, like athletics. And then whenever I was in school, I was given the opportunity to be mentored by Autumn Gore, and
Ah,
I stepped foot in her office and never looked back because I had never seen a world where you see so many like happy people in one room and babies running around, and she was barefoot and just like this whole experience. I feel like you stepped into a different world, and it is like chiropractic offices are uncommon. Like whenever you look at the subset of what we get to do every day, I always laugh. I'm like, who gets to hold this many newborns in a day? Or who gets to
right.
work with so many pregnant women and just like the beauty of pregnancy? And so I, from that moment of stepping into her foot and being mentored for 3 years, fell in love with it. And then it was the only way that really, really, truly resonated with me to communicate chiropractic was through pregnancy and through vitalism and through creation. And so it just became like a really wonderful, just love story of just like falling in love with prenatal and pediatric chiropractic.
Wow, that's excellent. That's so cool. So then it's so interesting how how the life weaves you in a way that you wouldn't even know
Yep.
it could. Like, I'm going to be a sports chiropractor, and then look at this. So
Mhm.
then, I don't know much about. I just know it from reading it on your bio and hearing
Mhm.
about the nest. What's the nest in general? What does that mean? What is it?
So it's a maternal wellness center. And whenever I was creating this whole kind of like community-based healthcare, whenever probably 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago now, I really just came at it from a way of like, how can I practice in this amazing building and have my rent paid by all these people? And I was like, what if we just like make a WeWork for birth workers and just kind of created all these office spaces? And then it turned into something really, really incredible because I realized you can do your business alone in an office suite, or you can do it with 5 or 6 other businesses that can cross refer and create a really beautiful ecosystem for your business to 10x if you are doing life and doing business along with these other like-minded businesses. So that's what we've built over the past 8 or 9 years. And then just recently, we are building a whole 2-acre development in a downtown city. So we're actually developing a downtown area in a little area of North Dallas that's focused on families, maternal health care, and wellness. So we're like developing a downtown area for that.
That's amazing. And I want people to catch that, whether they be doctors or students, because we get the whole gamut of people that listen to this from around the world. And I gotta say, listen to what she just said from the place of, you know, postpartum depression. I don't know how I'm going to make my rent, making a leap into a bigger space that probably wasn't a good idea. And now, right, saying we're going to build this larger vision place to hold it. And they kind of, I mean, I hear a little bit of Kevin Costner Field of Dreams in there in my brain as I'm saying it. But the reality is, right, to build it and they will come. But here's the thing, the reality is that what I also hear, and I want other people to hear, is that you decided to go for it and to give. And then, hey, the mission, as I'm going on this mission, the resources are going to be provided somehow.
Yeah. And that's honestly where we're at right now. I've been working for this for probably 2 years. And we're kind of like in this like area now where we're in a 45-day capital raise where we have to get $2 million. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We have made it this far. And like the last step of manifestation is surrender. And I've learned that over and over again that I don't know how this is going to happen, but I know somehow it will because there's a lot of peace at the end of it. But I think too, walking through life with open hands of just saying, you know what, if we're just going to trust the process up until this point and kind of see where we kind of weave through this and see what happens. But it's been really fun to kind of have this adventure along the way.
Wow, that's so exciting. And I hope it speaks to someone who's watching and listening to this.
Yeah.
No, about that there's more. Because so often in chiropractors, I mean, look, we know that the chiropractic is nearly unlimited potential for growth for chiropractors. Because relative to the number of chiropractors and the number of spines on the planet, we couldn't take care of everybody. So there's the potential for growth is almost infinite. And at the same time, we so often get trapped in whatever box or limit we put on ourselves because we really put them on ourselves. And so I hope this like inspires people to, hey, I've got to allow myself to think and envision bigger, right?
And I wish that some people, what I have seen stepping into the real estate development world is that our principles and what we believe and how we live our life, you can develop cities based on these principles of vitalism and family and community because the world is so hungry and there's a desert right now for this type of real estate. And so it's just been really interesting to bring vitalistic principles into city planning and city development.
Excellent. So now I also know, like you're in London right now, which is awesome, and getting a little decompression time, which is good, right? People don't do that enough. And I got to say this about Mile High, okay? So number one, before I ask this question, if you're watching and listening, and you're not in the Mile High directory, make sure you add your office to the Mile High directory so you can gain referrals. We want people that are associated with Mile High to be the first place people refer to. So there's a Mile High directory. Make sure your team knows to use that directory as a resource when they need to send someone to see someone in another corner of the world. And Number two, that when you go to Mile High, because people do this all the time. I know you've had this experience. I've had this experience where I go in and out. Like I was just in Mexico City and teaching down there and being part of the Berkshires event. And I'm guilty of what I'm telling people not to do, which is I did not have time. I went in, got to the hotel, went back. I didn't get to go see Mexico City. When you come to Colorado from Mile High, sightsee. Allow yourself an extra day, especially that time of year, that last week of September when we're hosting it. It is when the leaves are changing in Colorado. It is like the most beautiful time. Just get a half a day, and drive up into the mountains like you're spending extra time in London right now to like enjoy on top of the program you were doing. So I want to encourage people when you go to Colorado, it's such a beautiful place. Don't rob yourself of the experience of just going to a hotel and back. Like go see the Rocky Mountains and like just get even half a day early because you'll be thankful for that, especially if you bring your team. If you take your team to Mile High and then you go up into the mountains with them, they'll feel like so like a part of something, you know? So now with that lead up, so you're in London because you were just doing a WanderLearn event. This is your venture you told me about a couple of years ago that you were building. I remember having the conversation when you were just launching it, about, hey, this is the new thing I'm going into. Tell people about what WanderLearn is.
So I think it kind of was born based on what you just said of every time I would go to a seminar, I would go straight to the seminar in Nashville or Vegas or all these other cities. And I would sit in the hotel the entire time and then learn amazing things, but just never take the time to actually heal and relax and adventure. And I'm in this really cool place. Why am I not taking advantage of it? And then I was also born out of going through my divorce process and my radical healing that I had through traveling and going through wellness retreats that I put myself through. And I realized, wow, like chiropractors can be some of the most unhealthy people because we don't take time to heal and take time to deal with our stuff that we need to like really be like processing. And
Right.
so it was my intention to create an experience for doctors to come get all of their CEs, but also have an incredible experience, whether it's travel, detox, healing, luxury, like whatever that looks like. So every trip is different. We just took 11 chiropractors to Egypt.
Wow.
And we privately rented the Sphinx from the Egyptian tourism. And the government, and we were able to actually have private sunrise access where we did like
Wow.
meditation and breath work at the most holy site in the world. And then all of our trips, you feel like you're on a retreat and like you're getting some CEs. Like your CEs are usually by the pool or on a yacht or somewhere just like really relaxing where your environment is changed. So you're actually really tuned in to the classes and they're very, very fascinating and you get to learn a lot. But at the same time, you're getting to travel the world on these really, really like bucket list adventures that otherwise you wouldn't really have the opportunity to do because it's a business write-off. Your business is paying for it. You're bringing your family. And I think that I saw a void in the profession where one, we're not taking care of ourselves. And two, we don't really have the opportunity to travel as much as other professions would because we have our practices. And so I said, well, you know what, why don't we just put Kinchi education and healing and travel all together in one? And so that's how WanderLearn was born.
Wow, that's excellent. So what are some of the places that you have held programs at this point, or your organizations?
It has literally been the craziest ride ever. We've hosted in 14 countries over the past 2 years.
Wow.
And we're all over. I think that some of my favorites, we just finished in Egypt. We'll definitely do Egypt again next year. It was very just incredible. We're going to Machu Picchu this year. We do Switzerland. We're doing a Scotland golf retreat. And then Italy, France, of course, Caribbean, Mexico. Just got off a call with a host who wants to host with us in Turks and Caicos, Costa Rica, really, and we hosted in Japan. Like we really have gone all over. And so it's just been really cool to kind of see how the company was able to scale and grow so quickly through the model.
I just want to say that I really like how you said, well, like, of course, Caribbean, like, you know,
Of course. Yeah. Who doesn't love a beach?
like that's a given. So,
Yeah.
and you've partnered with people to put this on. Like who's been? I know a couple of them, but who's some of the people that have participated?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting model that I guess I realized whenever I had my own like following, I could only host like 2 to 3 a year. I was like, well, I'd really like this business to be something like interesting. And so I created a model where anybody with a following or something to teach or a coaching group, then they bring their people on the trip. And then they basically get a profit per person and they get a free trip and they're making money traveling as well. So we've had everybody from Pam Stone, who teaches through the ICPA, the Florianis, so Jennifer and Simon, they hosted a huge retreat last year in Spain. We took like 52 chiropractors to Costa Brava, and they just fell in love with the model because they saw how seamlessly it works together. Where if you're a true teacher and you like really want to mentor, then our model comes in and curates the entire experience. So it takes that headache off of the planning and international events. So like, this is incredible. So they're hosting 4 events with us this year.
Wow.
Dr. Wade Port. So he's coming with us to Scotland. Mackenzie's hosted with us. We've had people outside the professions. We're hosting our first legal retreat for lawyers. We're getting into dentistry. We've had pelvic floor physical therapists host with us, midwives host with us. We're just kind of transcending into that educational tourism where anybody that needs professional development, then we're kind of adding and curating trips for them as well.
Oh, it's all so super exciting. Super exciting. And it all sounds like it's probably fun.
Oh my God. Yeah, I literally was like, is this my life? It's so crazy. Like it's just like such a gift. I always look back and think of like where I was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I never, ever, ever would have thought I'd be here. So I just beyond thankful for it.
And by the way, you just dropped another thing that I want to, make sure the people listening caught, which is I never thought I'd be here where I was before. And so
Mhm.
often we limit our thinking. It's like a subluxation in our brain, that we, subluxation above atlas, that we limit our thinking as what's possible. And, as a chiropractor, you have such a gift of so much potential to give to the world in so many areas, and you have to make sure you are taking care of yourself through that. It sounds like you've had the experience, Courtney, of not taking care of yourself and realizing what that price that has paid. I've had that experience, and if you're in it's but usually because we're also on mission and we still want to impact the world for the better.
Yeah, we're
So
still human though.
yeah, it's so human, right?
Exactly.
And if you're going to give more, you've got to also give more to yourself at the same time.
100%. Well, I spent 4 hours in the spa today.
So now, bringing it back, in terms of pediatrics, right? Now you actually focus on or you focus, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have focused very frequently on perinatal care. Now,
Mhm.
why is perinatal care important?
I think it's just we fill the void of any other provider in maternal health care. Once a woman, we see her ideally in her preconception phase, and we're the first doctor that she tells that she's pregnant to. And then the gap in our maternal health care system is the very beginning and postpartum. The first 12 weeks, you're not seeing anybody. Like your first midwife, your first OBGYN appointment is at 12 to 14 weeks, where arguably that's the most important time in neurodevelopment for a fetus, for a baby in the mother's womb. And we've directly correlated long-term health outcomes to maternal health during the baby's development of that first little bit when the brain, the nervous system, the heart, everything is developing in that first 12 weeks. And so what a mother is doing in that time period can directly affect that baby's long-term health outcomes. And if she is in a fear state, or she's just not eating well, or not getting the right supplementation, not getting adjusted, or nervous system is out of balance, then there's so many things that we're really filling the gap in that time. So that first week, that really, really important, that first trimester, we're seeing them. And then the postpartum, our standard of care is truly just, okay, have a baby, we'll see you in 6 weeks. All right, you're cleared, you can have sex now. And it's just like, is that really our maternal health care standard? Like, what in the world? So chiropractors fill in that void of that first bit of pregnancy, and then the postpartum, women seeing us into aftercare too. So that perinatal is that truly encompassing time that a woman is finding out she's pregnant, to her postpartum time, and into motherhood, and like really raising well-adjusted children and babies, and walking into connected motherhood.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. And people, what do we need to do? And probably that's probably a longer answer than what I'm about to say, is probably a longer answer than we have time for. But what do we need to do as chiropractors to help people make the connection to the importance of chiropractic and perinatal care?
I think it's just the consistent education. I think that a lot of people don't realize, and I think the one comment we hear the most in our office is, wow, where were you in the beginning of my pregnancy? Where were you when I had kids? Where were you when I had this? So I think as chiropractors, stepping out of your comfort zone and educating the pediatricians, the OBGYNs, educating right now, anytime a pediatrician office in Dallas hires a new pediatrician, they come to our office to be trained. Like, we are training pediatricians because we're standing firm on what chiropractic is and the principle, and they're actually seeing the results that we're getting in that collaborative care. And so stepping outside of your comfort zone and educating and talking to people, and then the consistent communication with your patients too, of saying, hey, like, whenever you get pregnant, like, yes, please come see us. Or if you're working with a woman to get pregnant, those steps. And then postpartum, as soon as you have that baby, we want to be caring for you too.
Excellent, excellent. Now, another thing that you have participated in or have done that other people may not be aware of, that maybe we can touch base and learn a little bit more of, is you've written one of the largest natural birth and pregnancy books, Mother. Can you share about that with us?
Yeah, a lot of that book, it's finally getting published.
Ah,
I started it during when I was married, and then was writing kind of through my divorce for, like, it was like therapy for me, honestly. So it's very kind of vulnerable. But what I realized is I was able to put like all the things that I love and know, and like it was so therapeutic to just write about it. And then I've revised it over the past few years of my travels, of being able to travel around to these different cultures and see how we do pregnancy in different cultures and continents, and what maternal healthcare landscape looks like outside of the US. And then even through my healing journey with like shamans and different things, of really, really diving into just a different way of living during pregnancy and postpartum that completely changes the way a woman gives birth or heals in different cultures. So I've kind of put all of that into one book, and it's coming out very soon.
excellent, excellent. And that's another resource that people really need. So now back to WanderLearn. How do people learn more about it? Whether, first of all, let's say people want to attend a WanderLearn event. How do they learn more about that?
Super easy. Just WanderLearnRetreats.com, or follow us on Instagram. I think we try to post daily. So if we're not on your feed, it will become annoying until the point you're like, okay, I'm going on a trip.
Got it. Got it. And then if you maybe want to, as a teacher or CE presenter that wants to somehow be part of it, how would you learn more to take the first steps in terms of that?
We love, love, love working with people to add experiences to their business. And so just on the website, WanderLearnRetreats.com, there is a place where it says host a retreat. And you just click on that and it takes you to a call link. And then you just book a call and we dream a trip and a retreat and build it out for you.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now talking about your experience at Mile High, so you're going to be on stage this year. I can't remember how many times you've been there before. I honestly don't remember at this point. It all kind of blurs together. Does that happen to you, like things just start blurring together?
Yes. I'm like, what? How many times have we done this? Who's
Yeah,
spoken
how
here?
many programs I taught this when and where? Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
where I mean, oh yes, I was in Egypt because I mean that happened. So tell me about first of all your experience of being at Mile High.
Mhm.
First of all, what's your experience of being there, attending, speaking? What have you enjoyed about that? What's made it
Well,
different from other things?
I've spoken at a lot of different conferences across chiropractic, and I will say that the first time I spoke at Mile High with you was I couldn't believe the energy of the room and the people and the love. I think that that was something I was really blown away with was just what you've created over how many years have you been hosting? 13?
Gonna be 13. I kind of can't
Yeah.
believe it, but yeah.
It's insane. To do something consistently annually for that long is a huge testament. But I think the people there genuinely loved to see each other and it felt like a reunion. And that was whenever you're speaking on stage, I think it's the engagement of the people and like the attentive and the love. And like I just felt like I was welcomed into a family reunion. And I love that part about it because I think the connection is everything.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, um, things can happen intentionally and things can also happen organically or a combination
Mhm.
of both. What you just said is what people saying. I honestly didn't anticipate that. I thought like I have to have the best speakers and the best content and things coherently and congruently with philosophy, science, and art and the message of it. And then I didn't realize that, what actually people would appreciate is what you just said. It doesn't mean we threw the other things away, but that was what people, loved. So
Yep.
it's really rewarding to hear that yet again and from you. Really grateful for all your contributions to chiropractic and chiropractors. Truly amazing, Courtney, and we cannot wait to see you on the Mile High stage in September at Mile High 13, September 25th weekend. Rise at milehigh.com. Look forward to seeing everybody there and make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss any Mile High tick and you're always in the loop.